I say, how are you doing today? How are you doing today? I'm your host, Lacey G. Souldier Turner, and today I got a very special guest with me. Yeah, DJ, producer, engineer, business owner for over 2 decades. Got a studio, has become the epicenter of music and hip hop culture in Washington, D.C. He has produced and sold over 30,000 vinyl DJ break records in the mid 1990s. You know what I'm saying? He just tried to battle me with his one-liners before. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't see that. You know what I'm saying? That's the only battle I ever lost in history with his one-liners. But without further ado, man, we have the wonderful, amazing, talented Jeremy Beaver, A.K.A. known as DJ Boom. Welcome to the platform. Welcome to the platform. Hold on.
Much for having me. I super appreciate you. And yes, you just lost a battle to Pork Rhymes, one-line rapper. And we'll have to post about that later just to embarrass you further.
All right. So before we get into the events that you're doing, I want to let the people get to know a little about you. So can you let the people know, where were you born and raised, and how was your upbringing as a child?
Born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, and my upbringing couldn't have been better. Growing up in the 70s and 80s in New York City, I was exposed to some of the greatest cultural movements in American history. Whether it's living around the corner from Keith Haring's Pop Shop and watching him paint his own shop, or bumping into Basquiat. Hip hop was kind of everything in New York City, especially in the 80s. You couldn't walk more than a block without, hearing a boombox or seeing somebody breakdancing. Graffiti was everywhere. And it kind of made my childhood just really, really interesting and fun and creative, and super multi-ethnic, so that being a Jewish kid from Brooklyn, I was able to get exposed to all sorts of different cultures, from Rastafarian Jamaicans to Hasidic, Orthodox, Greek, to just all of the major, a lot of Puerto Ricans, a lot of Dominicans. Do you know what I mean? It was a really just absolutely amazing growing up I had, to be honest.
And I remember I was always fascinated with New York, the hip hop. I like from watching the movie Beach Street too. I've always wanted to go to New York. I love the culture, the breakdancing, and I think that's what made me become, I guess, love with hip hop as a child, period. So what got you into DJing and engineering?
Well, I guess let me start with DJing. So I got into DJing pretty early as a 14, 15-year-old kid. I saw a few movies, but one of the movies that really influenced me greatly was Juice. When I saw Juice and specifically the battle scene, I think I was already DJing at that time, but it really was like, oh, wow, okay, wow, I can do a lot more with it. And in fact, I was only just kind of like mixing at that time. So when I saw Juice, I was like, oh, I can battle? That's cool. That looks really cool. And that scene is so iconic with Queen Latifah and his name was DJ Q in the movie. But I just was taken, with my father had all these vinyl records. My father was a jazz head, a real jazzophile. And he had this one record that had a song on it that was like 17 minutes long. I was like, what the hell type of song? Like, that's just like the longest song I've ever heard in my entire life. Well, sure enough, of course, we all know it was Rapper's Delight. And the funny part is that here I am now. Master G is my business partner and the executive director of the National Hip Hop Museum. And that's, to me, a really wild, situation to be working with all of my heroes, to be honest. But when I heard that song, I was like, yo, this is amazing. This is so much cooler than anything else that I'm doing or spinning. And so I really got enamored with hip hop. And then hip hop was like, oh, okay, I can battle. I started making mixtapes and I started battling. And that was my kind of, life as a teenager until I got to college. And I went to college here in Washington, D.C. at George Washington University. And I got even more heavily into DJing and to mixtapes and the music scene. And basically, I started releasing. You mentioned it earlier
Mm-hmm.
in the intro. I started releasing DJ break records in the '90s, and if you know about DJing, you know that if you wanted, you know what I mean, like a toolkit, an audio toolkit, scratch sounds, beats, all that type of stuff, you had to buy a special type of record. And I ended up being the third human being to ever put out a break record. We had first you had Simon Harris, and then you had DJ Rectangle,
Mm-hmm.
and then you had our record, Bare Bones Battle Breaks, which preceded even DJ Kubert, so early on the scene. And so I did the DJing thing all through college, and then when I graduated from college, I was just trying to find my way in the world, and I ended up becoming a syndicated producer for National Public Radio, and I ended up helping to kind of found a company that's now called Sirius XM, and I was their director of production, helping to create production for 120 channels, and that's really when the engineering and the producing really kind of took off. Was because I was a trained and certified Digidesign Pro Tools engineer for National Public Radio and for Sirius XM, and that's how we created, all of the imaging and all of the production that you would hear in between the songs, because we didn't have enough human beings. We had to kind of make it sound like live radio, even though it wasn't fully live. And that really kind of launched me into the industry. I think once I was at Sirius XM, I was able to work with people like Jay-Z and Wynton Marsalis and John Anderson of Yes. Just a lot of really big iconic names that helped me cut my teeth in the music industry.
That's great. And I also saw that you was an A&R for Virgin Records. So how did that happen, and what was that feeling like?
Yeah, well, I was an A&R only because I was a street promoter. So in the 90s, if you kind of knew the right person, you could try to find a job at a record label as a street promoter. And what all that meant was that they were going to send you a whole bunch of vinyl records and a whole bunch of stickers and posters, and then your job was to go and put it up at record stores around your area, just promoting, the acts. And when the acts came to town, you would help promote the show and stuff like that. It wasn't that serious. I don't even know if I got paid. I actually think I was just paid. I was a DJ, so I was happy just to get the free records, But they had a mixtape competition, and I entered the competition and ended up. Competition was to become the tour DJ for Lenny Kravitz, and I ended up becoming Lenny Kravitz's tour DJ for that summer. And when I got back off the road, they offered me the position as A&R.
Okay. So where did the name DJ Boom come from?
Well, first it was DJ Boombastic. And like 6 months after calling myself DJ Boombastic, not even 6 months, maybe 3 months, maybe 2 months, maybe 1 month, very shortly after, a song by Shaggy came out. Mr. Boombastic,
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I'm good. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. So I just shortened it to DJ Boom, and the rest is history.
So I know you mentioned this a little bit, but I saw you work with the likes of Ghostface Killer, Raekwon, DMC, KOS1, Dougie Fresh, Jay-Z, Redman, Mobb Deep, Shy P, Freeway, Mr. Cheeks, Lil Wayne, T-Pain, Wale, Shock Glizzy, everybody. So being that you work with all these people, what were some of your favorite people to work with? I say out of all those people.
Oh, that's a great question. KRS-One. By far my favorite person to work with. Still is. KRS-One probably does not realize it, but I do. I have ADHD, and I mean that on a clinical level. I don't mean that on like a conversational level. I mean that on like a medical clinical level.
Okay.
And I think one of the things that actually makes KRS-One so brilliant, people that are on the spectrum, okay, have superpowers. Okay, I really mean that. I myself didn't even know it. I apparently have a high IQ. My IQ is 123, and I didn't even know that my entire life until I went to try to get, my son diagnosed, and I found out, oh my God, I have all of the same traits. I am clearly ADHD myself. But that ADHD superpower means that we have the energy and the drive and the passion and the creativity kind of on a level that is maybe not normal. It's definitely supercharged. And I feel like, if he was here, we could talk about it, because he's a good friend of mine. But I definitely think he has it. And he utilizes it in a great way because he's like me. He wants to execute. He has a great idea. He wants to execute it, and that's what I love about working with someone like a KRS-One, is because whether he's freestyling an entire song. I have 3 songs that I've produced with KRS-One that are entire freestyles. You wouldn't even know it. One of them has a recipe. He actually goes through a cooking recipe. He raps a freaking cooking recipe in the song freestyle. And I don't know. I find him to be super brilliant. But if there's only one other person I had to say that I love working with, is Dougie Fresh. Also another super brilliant, super talented individual.
Okay, man, look, even just watching KRS-One from afar, he's always been like great to me. You know what I'm saying? Just watching his technique, watching him on documentaries, how he breaks things down. I've always had a high respect for him also. So it's great that you actually are cool with him and got to see this, So let me talk about this. I saw that you won over 30 major music awards and accolades at Listen Vision. So can you tell me about that and how does that make you feel?
Yeah, sure. Well, Listen Vision Recording Studios, which is actually now defunct, we are no longer in business because it has been usurped by the National Hip Hop Museum. But yes, I own DC's largest and oldest recording studio for almost 30 years. And it's where Wale got his start, Shy Glizzy got his start, Fat Trell got his start, Light Show got his start. Many, 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 many folks got their start. Because we were not a expensive, highfalutin, barrier to entry industry studio. Quite the opposite. We were the building. We still have the building, which is now one of the exhibition spaces for the National Hip Hop Museum. It's at the entrance to Howard University. KRS-One was our spokesman. He recorded our theme song and a lot of our promotional material. And yeah, like you mentioned earlier, we worked at that studio. We did remixes for Mobb Deep and Flo Rida and Sean Price and Ghostface Killer, and endless Raekwon. You just endless names. And I think that because we didn't try to be some highfalutin, expensive, gatekeepers. I think because of that, the city really respected us and what we did. We had a very big impact. I would dare say that Listen Vision Recording Studios for almost 20 years was the central nervous system to everything hip hop and urban music here in Washington, D.C. And as a result of what I learned there in running that company, I took all of that knowledge and experience in the industry and I applied it to the National Hip Hop Museum, which is now the world's first hip hop museum with a $26 million collection of artifacts and memorabilia, including DJ Kool Herc's turntables and sound system that he used to invent hip hop.
And that was my next question, actually, the National Hip Hop Museum. But let me tell you this before we get into that. That's why I feel it was a line for me and you to meet. Period. So before I even knew anything about the National Hip Hop Museum. Like I just found out about you guys in June. So the reason I found out about you, I was finna go to Puerto Rico for a vacation, and I was looking for these Patrick Ewing shoes. It was powder blue, Sugar Hill, and they was out on his site. I needed a size 13. I was like, man, I need these shoes. So I was just typing who would have them in the National Hip Hop Museum.
That's
I was like,
funny.
I hope this is not a scam because these
That's
shoes cost
funny.
$150 some dollars, and it's a size 13, and it's like an autograph box. You know, it's gonna be autographed by Sugar Hill. So I ordered it, and it came, and I was happy. So that was my
Oh shoot! I wasn't scammed. It's real.
yeah. So that was my first experience this past June with learning about the National, Hip Hop Museum.
Wow.
And then
Wow. Hey, whatever it takes. You know what I mean? Like whatever it takes.
yeah, so I
You
got
know.
the box. I still got the box, and then after that, I just been buying the shoes.
Well, okay, simply because you brought it up, so now I'm gonna have to show the people. Yep, that's what we do here. We have the largest
Yeah.
hip hop retail store
Yeah,
in the
look at those.
world.
Hold on. Let me show by it too. Hold on. Let me show them for the people. Let the people know I'm not playing. Look,
Ah,
Sugar Hill.
hey, wow, looks like you're really wearing them.
Yes, I got the box.
Wow.
Though. I got the box. Hey, listen, I got the big L's. I just bought the big L's.
Well, let me ask you: do you have the Onyxes?
No, I do not have the look. I've been purchasing. I got the Rose.
Okay, you need the Onyx joints.
I'm
The
getting those
Slam.
next. I'm getting those next.
Those. What else we got? Yeah, so that's actually my business partner, Dave Goldberg at Ewing. And so the National Hip Hop Shop, nationalhiphopshop.com, is, like I said, it's literally the largest selection of hip hop memorabilia for sale. And we want you to feel good about spending money with us because we're a nonprofit, so that every penny that we get into our shop goes to fund our our grand induction ceremonies. And our next grand induction ceremony is, this 27th of September.
We gonna talk about that. Hold on. We gonna
Yeah.
talk.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I got ahead of myself.
I just want to let everybody know it's legit. So if you order something down there, it's legit. I took a chance. And
no, a lot of people say that in our comments on our ads on like Facebook. Half the comments are, "Oh my God, this is so dope. Is this real?" And so I've never thought in a million years that I would start a store that is so dope people don't even believe it's real.
Yeah.
That's like an interesting problem to have.
Yeah, and it's funny. Like I guess 2 months after that, here we go. David hit me up and was like, "Hey, Jeremy Beaver with the National Hip
No
Hop."
way. Oh, that's how this went down?
Yeah, I didn't know nothing about it before then.
Oh, you see, that's the hip hop universe at work right there. I hope you know that's not a coincidence at all.
That's what I just said. I was like, it's no coincidence that 2 months. Well, in June I did this, and 2 months later, then this happens.
And David hits you up. Yeah, that's meant to be.
So crazy. So let me ask you this also about how did the National Museum of Hip Hop even start? Like, what made you guys start it?
Okay, I'll try to do the condensed version.
Okay.
Oh wait, I think I have the doll. Can I show you the doll?
Yes, you see it.
Okay. The National Hip Hop Museum started with a $12 Biggie Smalls doll. And I love telling this story simply because this is such a simple character. So this guy, he sat on my shelf for like 6 months, and I went to go get him a friend. I wanted him to have a little Tupac.
Okay.
When I went online to find Biggie Smalls a little Tupac, I found out that little Biggie Smalls doll was worth like $1,000.
Wow.
And I was like, I don't understand. I just paid $12 for it. How is that even possible? And then I go, okay, well, I'll get him a little Tupac, but Tupac was now quite expensive. And I was like, well, what else is out there? Do you know what I mean? I was just like curious, like what other hip hop stuff exists for sale. Well, guess what? Not a lot.
Mm.
And I am an investor, and I invest in the stock market and in cryptocurrency. And just selfishly, I was, from an investment perspective, I thought, you know what? I'm going to buy everything. I'm
Mm.
going to buy everything that exists.
Mm.
And I went about doing that. And right as my midlife crisis was hitting full swing, and my wife was like, "Oh, I'm totally going to divorce you because you're spending all of our money on like, memorabilia." I was like, "No, wait, there's a purpose." And she was like, "Oh, really? What's that purpose?" I said, "Starting the National Hip Hop Museum."
And that's how it started.
And that's I mean, the fact of the matter is
Oh
when
my
you
God.
grow a collection that's this big and this significant, and it has everything from, the largest collection of RIAA gold, platinum, and diamond awards, the largest collection of hip hop sneakers, largest collection of hip hop fashion, largest collection of hip hop, tapes and microphone. I mean, you name it, posters, every single thing. You start to think to yourself, you know what? I don't think this is just for me. You know, I
Yeah.
think that I think America really needs this, and I also think, why has America not done this? Do you
Mhm.
know? So that was the other thing. So when I looked around, and this is 20, well, I started the collection in 2017. By 2019, we were ready to open our doors,
Mhm.
and I looked around, and there wasn't a single hip hop museum in the world in existence, not one. And so we opened our doors January 2019, and we were met with huge um, like warm welcome, like,
Mhm.
wow, this is so great, this is what we needed, this is, man, how come no one's done this before, all that type of stuff.
Mhm.
And it was a huge success, our grand opening, and it was followed by COVID.
Oh yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, that. Yeah, COVID wasn't so great
Yeah.
for, I mean, listen, I don't, that's a whole nother conversation, but we had to shut down our large location, our main location. We now have three smaller locations post COVID. So we have our main exhibition gallery at the entrance to Howard, 2622 Georgia Avenue. Right now, right here, we are in the hip hop shop,
Mm.
and it is all hip hop
Nice.
memorabilia. Everything in here
Nice. Yeah.
is for
Nice.
sale. And then we have a third exhibition gallery,
Nice.
um, which is about to be the grand opening that we mentioned on the 27th. That's our
Mhm.
third gallery space. And we even have dispensaries.
Oh yeah.
That's right. Every single location at the National Hip Hop Museum also has a cannabis dispensary.
Mm.
And that's been, just one of the creative ways that came out of COVID, when my famous clients started, contacting me and saying, "Hey, not going to be able to pay rent this month. What do you got for me?" And I was like, "How about weed?" And they're
Yeah.
like, "Listen, there's no amount of weed I can smoke that will pay my rent." I said, "No, no, 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 not smoke it,
Yeah.
like brand it,
Yeah.
you know." And
Yeah.
so we came up with the first one. We came up with Daz Effects,
Mm.
Googly Goo,
Mm. See?
Googly Goo by Daz
Y'all
Effects.
remember that song? Googly Goo.
Googly, exactly where it's from. We got the Googly Goo. Then we got Onyx. We got Slam.
Slam.
Grandmaster Kaz. We have his original rap name was Casanova Fly.
Mm.
So his is called Casanova Fly. Diamond D's Stunts, Blunts, and Hip Hop.
Look at that.
The Magnificent by Special Ed.
Okay.
Strobe Light Honey Hash by Drez of Black Sheep. Do you know? And,
Mm.
and that idea came out of COVID.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead and go ahead. Y'all next strand needs to be G Soldier, the greatest.
Oh, okay. Okay. Hey, this is what we do. We're open to it. We're open to
But
it.
that's a great thing. I love. So are you selling the Biggie Smalls doll, or are you just keeping it?
Oh, wow. No, I guess we're keeping it. Like, it no longer has its box or
Mm.
anything. And I wouldn't be able to tell this story. I've told this story like 1,000 times. So I guess we have to keep it.
Yeah, you got to keep
But
it.
I didn't think about that. You're right. No, we're gonna keep Biggie and Tupac.
Okay. So I want to talk about the two events that you have coming up on the 2 days for the induction with Grand Poobah and Lady of Rage. So the first one you kind of mentioned too, September 27th, it says the National Hip Hop Museum in Washington D.C. New Gallery and Lounge grand opening. 3 floors. You kind of mentioned the dispensary, the art gallery, is a gaming lounge. Tell the people about that.
Well, you can't, as an adult, if you ever wanted like an adult tree house, you know what I mean? Like a clubhouse, but for grown ass folks, that's what we created. Okay. Got a dispensary on the first floor. We got a exhibition gallery on the second floor, and an outdoor cannabis consumption deck, and also a gaming lounge on the third floor, where Grand Poobah and Lady of Rage will both be performing with DJ Doo-Wop on Friday, the 27th. Doors open at 6 p.m. Get your tickets right now on Eventbrite. They're stupid cheap, $25, and you're going to get a whole bunch of free stuff, like a free pre-roll, free drinks, free everything all night. It's going to be really, really fun. But what's really cool about it is that it's our third space from the National Hip Hop Museum. We're opening our newest gallery, and the gallery show is rare vintage hip hop posters. We're not just talking about any posters here. We're talking about the rarest, hardest to find posters ever assembled in the history of hip hop. German Beat Street posters. Do you know what I mean? Wild Style posters signed by the entire cast of Wild Style.
That's crazy.
Okay, like really hard to come by stuff. We even have like it's about a 4 foot by 6 foot I Got Next KRS-One poster. It's the largest poster I've ever seen in my life of anything. I can't believe that they even made a poster this large, but it'll be there. And we also have a piece, rest in peace to DJ K. Slay. A lot of people don't know that K. Slay was one of the very earliest graffiti artists, and he was in a documentary called Style Wars because he was a graffiti artist named Dez, D-E-Z, Dez.
Wow.
And his Dez, he didn't do too many graffiti pieces later in his life when he became famous as a DJ and a producer. But this original Dez piece will be on display for the first time ever, along with a few other graffiti pieces from Tracy 168, one of the earliest and greatest hip-hop graffiti artists, and Cope 2. So there's a whole lot of really amazing, never before seen art. It's all art and posters. It's all interactive, so you can scan QR codes, which unlock rare videos that correlate to the art. And then, at the end of the night, you got Lady of Rage and Grand Poobah will be performing at the grand opening. And $25. You really can't ask for more.
Hey, listen, man, if y'all in the Washington, D.C. area, make sure y'all go see that. Or even if you're not, fly in. It sounds like it's going to be great. So the very next day, I guess that's the grand induction ceremony for Grand Poobah and the Lady of Rage. Can you tell the people about that and the importance of that?
Sure. Well, the National Hip Hop Museum is the leading and only organization, sadly, that is giving everyone their flowers while they're still here. And don't get me wrong. I mean, there's other institutions, organizations, TV channels that show honor. Okay. But when it comes to hip hop preservation, archiving, and education, the National Hip Hop Museum is keenly focused on giving them their flowers and then making sure that their legacy remains intact and that we continue to talk about their music, talk about their name, talk about all of their contributions to American culture, music culture. And so that's why when we induct anyone, we've inducted now over 70 in only 5 years. We've inducted over 70 of the biggest, most major hip hop artists in the world. And, these two inductees are uniquely special in that they both had, Grand Poobah comes from a group, Masters of Ceremony and then Brand Nubian, and has had his hand in many different eras of hip hop. You could almost say that Grand Poobah saw two or even three different full eras of hip hop, from
Mm,
the 80s to the 90s and then 2000s. And that's really special and unique,
yeah.
for anyone in hip hop to have that type of longevity, followed by a very successful solo career.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in her own right, Lady of Rage has done something no one else has ever done. She is an artist from Virginia who linked up with Death Row and created one of the biggest, most memorable anthems in the history of hip hop with Afro Puffs.
I rock rough, said tough with my
My
afro
Afro Puffs rage,
on with your
right,
bed.
with your bad self, right? And what's unique about her is that whether she's rapping on stage, commanding the likes of Snoop Dogg and Suge Knight, Tupac, and the Dog Pound. I mean, she's part of a very illustrative West Coast syndicate. I would be hard pressed to find any other West Coast crews that rock as hard for as long and consistently as the Death Row
Yeah.
kind of Machiavelli crew type there. But she's also an actress, and she was in Next Friday. She's playing, was it Ms. Cleo in the
Mm-hmm.
Lifetime movie about the psychic Ms. Cleo. And she's just an extremely talented person that has seen so many different sides of the industry and is still going. So I mean, Ms. Cleo, the Lifetime documentary, just dropped last month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's like a really major network production. And so we think that their induction is going to be really special. And if anyone knows the Hip Hop Museum, they know that we give them a custom award with a custom hat and a custom necklace and a custom jacket and all of these accolades. And we give them a speech and we sit them down and we talk to them. And it's just a really special, intimate kind of honoring of these folks. And then they go into our Hall of Fame, and we talk about them and talk with them and promote them and educate people about them every single month for the rest of time. So that's why these ceremonies are so special.
Okay. So how can people get these tickets the same way to come to the induction?
Absolutely. Please go to nationalhiphopmuseum.org. The tickets for both of the events are one ticket. All you got to do is get the VIP ticket if you want to go to both. But there's a ticket, only a $25 ticket if you want to only just go to their performance on the 27th, but it's only just a little bit more expensive if you want to go to both events. The induction's the next day. There's going to be lots and lots of free gifts and prizes that are being given out.
Okay. So let me ask you this, DJ Boom. On your journey with doing all of these great things you have doing, what would you say has been your greatest challenge?
It's a really great question. It's a really great question. I would say the challenge that I take the most seriously is um, is a cultural challenge. Um, this country is so divided that having a white Jewish man at the helm of the National Hip Hop Museum is not the perception, is not the optics that the public wants. And so we and me, but we go through great lengths to have a 12-person staff that is uniquely diverse, with not just people of color, but women and folks who can uniquely represent the music and the culture in a way that the public respects.
Mm.
And so while myself and Master G often have to be the mouthpiece for the museum, I myself am uniquely aware of how I'm perceived and how important it is to show the right amount of honor and racial sensitivity that we show. And it's not just racial sensitivity; it's also sensitivity to those we've lost. We never anticipated doing so many posthumous induction ceremonies for people who are no longer with us. But one of those times where we had to take great care, in making sure we did the right thing was, there we go, with Heavy D, and we inducted him posthumously through his cousins, Pete Rock and Grap Lova, and are now working very closely with Lloyd Myers, his brother, and his former business manager. That's just one example. I can give you many, many examples where we have to tread lightly and we have to be very considerate about how people want to be remembered, how people want to be, how they want their legacy preserved, and what the organization looks like that is doing that.
Gotcha. It's crazy you said that. Also, because I don't look at hip hop as color, and I constantly get into debates because I feel like I'm one of the top greatest lyricists in the world, and I feel like I learned my sensei, who I always call who I feel is the greatest rapper ever to live. Period. Is Eminem. So I get into so many debates of like, he's white. How can he be the greatest? How can I be like, got nothing to do with color?
Right.
His skill level.
Right. Right. And most importantly, so it's funny, even this morning I got a text from Culture Freedom of Poor Righteous Teachers, because he and I are friends. And he asked me that exact question. What do you think about this debate about the origins of hip hop? And I want to read you my answer.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's get it.
And I want to read you my answer only because this is a hip hop inductee. They were inducted in 2022. Poor Righteous Teachers were inducted at our ceremony in Burlington, Vermont.
Okay.
And I think this is apropos. Okay. So Culture Freedom texted me just this morning. And by the way, if you haven't gone down the rabbit hole of Poor Righteous Teachers, their music is absolutely amazing. Some of the greatest hip hop music, I think, that's ever been made, has been made by Poor Righteous Teachers. So Culture Freedom, just want you guys to see that. Culture Freedom this morning wanted to know if you had any thoughts surrounding this whole thing concerning the origin of hip hop. I said I do, but I think the conversation leads away from peace, love, unity, and having fun. And that's what hip hop was invented for. You can ask the pioneers, the founding fathers of hip hop. Hip hop came out of gang life and gang culture. And it was literally, and this is a fact, to create peace, love, unity, and having fun. I then go on to say, hip-hop music is Afro-Caribbean music, but Puerto Ricans and Jews had a huge hand in unifying it as a culture and bringing it to the masses. The debate within the African-American community looks really hateful and ununified to other races and cultures. I think the Willie Lynch letters are still active in many African Americans' DNA because there's a strong lack of unity. Just my opinion. And so, listen, we can have conversations about everything. We can have conversations about the Holocaust. We can have conversations about the origins of hip hop. We can have all of these conversations. But guess what Americans clearly suck at doing? Having conversations.
Facts. That is a fact.
What the fuck is wrong with us?
Capital FACT.
What is wrong with us, though? You know what I mean? Because it's like, and this is really just, I guess, the social media
Yeah.
aspect of this, because I think if we were all in a room with each other, different races, different cultures, different people, all hip hop lovers or whatever, we would be respectful, and
Right.
we would you know what I mean? Assuming Lord Jamar's not
Yep.
there, and everyone, everyone, everyone would have their own opinion, okay,
Right.
and people would respect people's opinions whether they agreed with it or not. But the problem is that in social media world, if you start a decent conversation, that's a good conversation, maybe even one worth having, the loudest voices and the most ignorant voices take over the conversation.
All the time.
And so, I wanted to read that text to you because I wanted to disclose that I have nothing to hide.
Yeah, I love it.
I feel the way I feel because I care about people of
Me
color.
too.
I
Me
care
too.
about hip hop. I care about America.
And DJ Bull, look, I don't know if you know this. We're the only genre where they say we're too old once you get in a certain age that you should
Right,
stop rapping. I'm like, why?
right,
This is a mental.
right,
It's not like
right,
we're playing physical football and we're getting old. If
right,
God gave you the
right.
gift and the talent, why stop? Like,
Well, it's really interesting though, because it's like in the 50s and 60s, doo-wop and rock and pop music had teen sensations, and they were able to continue. No one said to the Partridge Family or to what are those two? I'm not good with all these white people. What are those Donny Osmond, the
yeah,
Osmond,
The Osborne.
Donny Osmond and his sister, right? They've been in public eye. Nobody's saying Donny Osmond, you ain't looking so good anymore. You really might want to hang it up. You know what I mean? It's like it's really weird, and that's why and I don't mean to invoke words like Willie Lynch.
Yeah,
I don't,
yeah. It's the
especially
truth, though.
as a white person.
Yeah,
But like, if there was a psychological tool that white people used to divide and mentally, harm African Americans, and we all know that mental and psychological trauma, do you know what I mean, happens over decades. It doesn't just happen and then it's gone. Do you know
right.
what I mean? Like, there's a lot of trauma within, I think, African Americans that needs to be kind of discussed and dealt with. And hey, look, guys like Tyrese, who I saw shedding tears on TV the other day. I actually think that goes really far. I
Mhm.
think that to helping um, Black people, but all people, men, express ourselves, right? But
Exactly.
at the end of the day, if the discussion about hip hop does not lead back to peace, love, unity, and having fun, I kind of don't want to be a part of it.
Mm. Right. Salute. Hey, salute to that. So, look, let me ask you this on the flip side of that, though. What would you say has been your greatest accomplishment?
Well, my two children are my greatest accomplishment. And I'm really proud of the fact that I have a 13-year-old son who just recited word for word children's story to me this
Mm,
weekend.
mm.
Literally word for word, Dad, look. And I could only just chime in on the rhyming word. So I
Slick,
was kind of
Slick
really
Rick.
impressed.
Slick Rick.
Once upon a time, not long ago, you know what I mean? And he was good with it too. And so my kids are my biggest accomplishment. But I know that's not the answer you wanted. The answer
Oh,
you
no, no,
wanted,
whatever you wanted to give.
well, no. What in my line of work, the National Hip Hop Museum is my greatest accomplishment. I'm so proud of not the museum, but the people who created the museum. Whether it's our retail director, Erica Parm, who keeps our retail shop operating 365 days a year, whether it's our digital director, Christine Bowen, who designed every single logo, every single everything you've ever seen, whether it's our historian, Jay Kwan, whether it's our creative director, Andy Katz. I'm most proudest that we assembled a team of the world's leading experts in each category. Fashion, our fashion director, our transportation director, our music director. These are people who are the number one in their fields, in their positions. And that's what I'm really proud of. And that's why I think we get a lot of respect at our museum, is because we're doing it from the bottoms of our hearts.
Nice. Okay, so let me say this. You've been, like, I guess, through all these different elements of hip hop, like with the museum, working with all the celebrities. What advice would you give to an artist today who is trying to break into the industry? I would say that.
The advice I would give, I would say, to be non-traditional. My son is a music producer. He actually produces drum and bass. He produces some hip hop, but mostly drum and bass. My advice to a young artist would be the same advice I give to my own child, okay? Which is use the internet and use new non-traditional methods of attack. Okay, and those non-traditional methods of attack could be going to a beach in Hawaii and setting up your turntables and DJing to the dolphins in the lagoon. A non-traditional plan of attack could be creating mixes on SoundCloud or Mixcloud and continuing to put them out endlessly.
Okay, so before I get into my last question, let the people know, where can they find you at? How can they get in touch with you, or get in touch with the National Hip Hop Museum?
Well, if you want to get in touch with the National Hip Hop Museum, please go to @National Hip Hop Museum on Instagram. Please check out our website, nationalhiphopmuseum.org. Check out our retail store, nationalhiphopshop.com. If you want to get at me personally, please don't, but you can at DJBoom_LV. Yeah.
Okay. So my last question, Mr. DJ Boom, that I love to ask all my guests. When it is all said and done and you are long gone from this earth, what is it that you want the people to know about DJ Boom?
All I care about really is that people feel that I did this with a generous heart, and that we did this with the right intentions. That's all I care about. I really want the National Hip Hop Museum to be, an institution that lasts for hundreds and hundreds of years, preserving the legacy of some of our greatest cultural heroes. If there's a little bit of thought or memory to the guy who helped put that all together, that'd be nice. But the fact of the matter is I think the museum itself, as long as it can be remembered and it still exists, that'll make me happy.
All right, and there you have it. I want to thank you, DJ Boom. We had a great conversation. It's crazy how the world aligned us together.
Yeah, that just goes to show hip hop is powerful.
From me buying some shoes, needing a size 13, and you the only one had.
Wow, look at that. Look at that.
Facts.
Lacey, thank you so much for having me today.
All right, you have a great day, and I'll let you know as soon as we drop this interview and this article.
Thanks so much, bro. Take care.
Great.
Bye-bye.